Our goofy game phrase kept my son alive. I was 28 when my son Lucas invented what he called the superhero secret language because he'd just watched his first Avengers movie and decided our family needed emergency codes like the heroes used. He was 6 years old with an imagination that ran wild. I thought it was adorable when he spent an entire Saturday afternoon creating elaborate hand signals and code phrases that he insisted we all memorize for family emergencies. My wife Sarah rolled her eyes but played along because Lucas was so excited. The system Lucas designed was surprisingly sophisticated for a first grader. Buying ice cream meant danger or something's wrong. Going to see Grandma Betty meant call for help immediately, even though we didn't have a Grandma Betty. The dog needs a bath meant I'm hurt or someone's hurting me. Mom's making spaghetti tonight meant I'm scared but can't say why openly. Dad's working late again meant I'm being taken somewhere I don't want to go. The safety phrase that meant everything was actually fine was, Uncle Steve is coming over, referencing Sarah's brother who lived across the country and never visited unannounced. We practiced the code religiously for months because Lucas treated it like the most important game in the world. He'd slip coded phrases into dinner conversations and wait to see if Sarah and I would respond with the appropriate signals. During car rides to school, he'd test us by saying he thought we should buy ice cream later, and we'd have to prove we remembered that meant danger by asking if Uncle Steve was coming over instead. What started as childhood play became deadly serious just 2 months after Lucas turned 7 when our new neighbor Mr. Patterson moved in next door. He was in his 50s, recently divorced, and seemed overly interested in getting to know our family, especially Lucas. At first, his attention seemed harmless, just a lonely man trying to make friends. He'd wave enthusiastically whenever he saw us, offer to help with yard work, and always had candy or small toys to give Lucas whenever they crossed paths. But within weeks, Patterson's behavior began escalating in ways that made my skin crawl. He started timing his outdoor activities to coincide with Lucas playing in our backyard, finding excuses to lean over the fence and engage my son in conversations that lasted longer than appropriate. He'd ask detailed questions about Lucas's school schedule, his favorite activities, and whether he ever felt lonely when Sarah and I were at work. The questions seemed innocent individually, but together they formed a pattern that made me deeply uncomfortable. The first coded warning came during a Saturday afternoon barbecue when Patterson invited himself over and cornered Lucas near our back gate. I was inside getting plates when Lucas burst through the kitchen door and casually mentioned he was really thinking about buying ice cream. Then he paused and added that Uncle Steve probably wasn't coming over today, but maybe we should call him anyway. The mixed signals sent chills down my spine as I realized Lucas was trying to tell me something was wrong. When I pressed him gently, Lucas revealed that Patterson had been asking strange questions about his body and whether he'd started developing hair in private places. The neighbor had also suggested that Lucas might want to come over to his house sometime to see his collection of vintage comic books, but only when his parents weren't around because adults didn't understand how special these particular comics were. Patterson had even offered to take pictures of Lucas reading the comics. I immediately went outside and confronted Patterson. When I told him his questions were inappropriate and he needed to leave my son alone, Patterson's demeanor shifted completely. His friendly mask slipped as he claimed I was overreacting to innocent neighborly conversation and that I clearly had a dirty mind to interpret his questions as anything other than caring interest. He accused me of being paranoid and suggested that Lucas might have misunderstood harmless questions, but his defensive reaction convinced me that Lucas's coded warning had been accurate. I banned Patterson from our property and told Lucas to never be alone with him, but our neighbor's behavior only escalated. Within days, he began what amounted to surveillance of our family, positioning himself to observe our daily routines. Patterson started appearing at the bus stop each morning when Lucas waited for school transportation, always with convenient excuses about checking his mailbox or walking to the corner store. He'd position himself where he could watch Lucas interacting with other children, sometimes taking pictures with his phone that he claimed were of interesting cloud formations. When other parents noticed his lurking behavior, Patterson would engage them in friendly conversation while keeping his eyes on Lucas. The situation intensified when Patterson began leaving gifts in our mailbox, specifically addressed to Lucas. Candy bars, comic books, small action figures, and trading cards would appear every few days, each accompanied by notes praising Lucas's intelligence, appearance, or behavior. The messages were always signed, "Your special friend, Mr. P. Diddy," and included comments about how Lucas was such a handsome and mature boy who deserved nice things. To see what happened when Patterson made his move, watch the full story on my channel or linked below.